Thank you guys for joining us today. I'm very excited to get these webinars started again. For those of you that don't know, I'm Rachel Zeman, the founder and CEO of Benelinx. We're going to go through this wonderful kickoff kind of presentation today. A little housekeeping though, I've got Lou here from our team. She is a co-host. This is a webinar, so everybody is muted by default. We're going to go through the presentation, but feel free to chat questions at the end. If we have time, we'll go through those. Um, and then this will be recorded. So we're going to be able to host this in a variety of places. If you want to share this with any of your team members, we're happy to share that after we go through and clean it up a little bit. Anybody has any problems too, Lou's going to be monitoring the chat. So if you have any issues, let us know. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. Lou, can you give me a yes? The demo, the presentation.
Yes.
We're good? Okay, great. All right, so let's get started, shall we? So a couple things. We did a webinar series, the end of 2024, beginning of 2025. So it was a little over a year ago. We put our heads down, got really busy doing a lot of things. And we also and people loved the webinar series. Most of it was focused on training, and recordings of some training sessions, which have been really powerful for us to host those in our Benelinx 360 training portal. But we also got feedback that it was the wrong timing. And so while fourth quarter is a little bit slower for us, it's not for you guys. So we listened to that. And so now we're going to launch another series at the beginning of the year. So we'll extend this on for a couple months, see how it goes, and kind of make sure we hit all the key milestones of what we need for training, and updates. So that's why we shifted the timing a little bit, but we're glad to be back. We're glad to be able to continue with giving you guys updates, and hearing your feedback as always. I always say, like, usually I reject initially, but I listen, and then I have to process, and then I'm like, oh, they're so right. Okay, let's fix that. Um, so a couple things today. This is a really important presentation, and I think it's a really great kickoff, like I said, for us to go through and talk about kind of where we're headed for the next year. We've been a little bit quiet. We've been doing a lot of things, so we're going to kind of go backwards first before we go forward and kind of recap 2025. But we really do also want to spend the bulk of this presentation talking about what's next. What are we doing, Benelinx, as a company, doing next for the next year and even beyond. So that gives you a good framework of, okay, what they're doing behind the scenes. We may not hear from them or whatnot, but hear all the things that are going on. Um, so we're going to go through that. We're going to talk about the new features. We're going to talk about some new products that we have to offer. Some of them are ours, some of them are not. Some of them come from our vendors, and even Salesforce. And obviously focusing on when we bring in new products and features, how are we going to also then train for that to make sure that you and your team members are able to get up to speed on those features if you choose to purchase them. I want to talk a little bit about services. So I think we've shifted as a company, Benelinx, we've grown, and I think service has become a really important component that we really spent some time last year dissecting, understanding what we're doing well, what we're not doing so well, what clients are asking us for. And we have a whole new service model that we're going to introduce to you today. In addition to kind of our renewal process, right? So we're getting more engaged with our customers, you guys, during that renewal process and giving you a little bit more guidance, and resources. And then lastly, I mentioned we have partners, right? So Benelinx is brilliantly bundled. We have lots of partners. We have strategic partners that we work with. We have our core, obviously Salesforce. We're built in Salesforce. We also have some external partners. We have Conga, we've had for years. We have a relationship with them. We're resellers for them. But we also have a new partner we're going to kind of introduce today as well. And that all aligns with some of the new product offerings that we have. So let's talk a little bit about 2025. Okay. So last time we started these sessions, we were in the end of 2024. So we've got a whole year of kind of what have we been doing, right? What has Benelinx been doing? Some of it's more visible than others, but I think it's really important for us to communicate with you, and help you understand some of the things that we did behind the scenes that you may or may not be aware of, that may or may not affect you directly, but indirectly does. And first and foremost, what did we do internally? So internally at Benelinx, we grew extensively with our resources and our expertise internally at Benelinx. We have reevaluated our entire team structure. We've added different divisions within the Benelinx team. We've grown significantly with support and resources, our staffing. We've reevaluated our entire each process of how we're doing our development, how we're doing our onboarding, how we're doing our supports. We spent a tremendous amount of time looking at that as we've grown quickly, taking a pause, taking a breath, and reevaluating where we were 3 years ago and where we are as a company today, and really put a tremendous amount of resources into that. Hopefully you'll see that with the organization, the structure, the documentation, at each one of those levels. But it's great because we have more people, we have more resources, more bandwidth, right? Which was really important. And the quality is very important for us as well. Internally, we are using Salesforce. I've talked about this a lot extensively and during the onboarding process. We drink the Kool-Aid just like you. So we use Salesforce internally to manage our partner experience with Salesforce. We use it to manage our service and cases. We use it to manage the tracking of our onboarding process. We spent a significant amount of time last year building out our client community, the Experience Cloud. And we're turning that on in the next 30 days for our current new clients, which we're really excited for. That may or may not affect you directly because you might be past that onboarding experience, but we're really excited about giving our clients a self-service portal. That's what the Experience Cloud is within Salesforce. It's literally our onboarding clients are going to be able to log into our Salesforce and see our project and our agendas and our meetings, which is great. So they can go in any time and they're going to be able to see where they're at percentage-wise with completion of a project. They're going to be able to see that agenda and those notes. And part of the reason why I'm bringing it up now in this presentation isn't just to let the current clients that are in the onboarding know that that's coming, but also kind of be aware that this is a kind of a test pilot for Benelinx on the onboarding. It's a really critical component for us to add to be efficient in that onboarding process, but we're going to be rolling this out to all of our clients at some point, whether that be 2026 or 2027, right? So get ready, right? We're going to be able to give our clients access so that you would be able to see your service tickets. You'd be able to see a lot of things about what we're doing in that transparency. And what a beautiful thing is that you'll be able to firsthand experience what it's like to be a part of and to log in to that community. So at some point, if you want to add that into your own org, you'll have that firsthand experience. And I think it's a great win-win, right? We're going to do that for our clients. We want to give that access, self-service. You're going to be able to see what it looks like. So if at some point you want to add that in into your org, you'll be able to kind of touch and feel it, right? You'll be able to see it before you buy. And another really big internal component that we had a challenge with last year was security review. So really important as a Salesforce approved partner. Not everybody gets approved by Salesforce to sell their product inside of Salesforce. Further, we had to go through a really extensive process of approval to be able to build and sell within Salesforce. Part of that contract requirement is that we pass security review. It's random selection, so we've gone through a couple iterations, and we've had to spend a significant amount of time last year going through the security review process. Whereas some applications that are on the App Exchange, the Salesforce App Exchange, are smaller, so their security review process is much smaller. Ours is extensive. Our system is very large. But that is so important, right, for you guys to know that. We're putting our time and our resources into making sure that we've dotted our I's and crossed our T's, and Salesforce is giving us the blessing that we're passing security review to make sure that your data is protected. Okay. Salesforce obviously has its own firewalls and its own security. We building in there, they're checking on us to make sure everything we're building, our integrations, the connection with the outside world are secure, that breach is, lower, the potential is as low as humanly possible, right? And so we did spend a lot of time last year in 2025 going through that and making sure that we passed that. So those are some of the things that we did behind the scenes that you may or may not be aware of. Additional features real quick, last year is we rolled out the RFP object, the request object, attached those to our renewal workflow. And so that's kind of the beginning. I've talked to a lot of clients about this. This is kind of like phase one in this master plan that we have. But that's the first part, right? Is getting that built into the managed package. Those objects are visible. We integrated them into our workflow. And we'll talk a little bit more about kind of phase two of that. Next thing is again, feedback from us. We expanded our booklet. We improved the some of the design formatting. We also expanded it so that it includes more product lines. So it now includes some of the worksite products and availability there. Commissions app, complete overhaul of the commissions app, from adding in the statement object to renaming the objects, from payout to commission entry. We added and we pulled apart the producer's comp. It used to be fields on a policy. Now it's records, and their commission payable records. We added then into that. So instead of just replacing, we added also the ability to track our estimates. What are we expecting to receive from the carriers based on your contracts? So now we can compare actual to expected. So a massive change there in that whole commissions application. And we had a compliance, simple little thing, but it's a really big winner for folks that can see that compliance object and go, wow, we don't track, we don't manage the compliance. We're not going to ever be responsible to making sure it's accurate. You go and find those legal documents. But the process of being able to identify which clients do we need to make sure we're checking the boxes for certain compliance requirements, whether that be state, federal, based on product size, etc. But it's a really great new added that people really seem to be receptive to having and being able to kind of integrate that into the tracking process. And then additional automation. So that's kind of our internal automations that we built into the managed package, right? So we've got now our renewal automation, but now our onboarding. We have a lot more clients that are adding the sales component and in addition to the agency management, right? So the sales app and that integration of that connection between that sales process and when it's closed won, and then conversion into a new client. And so onboarding, opportunity close one automation. We have this cool recycle. All of that is kind of that coming from that desire to have both applications and then that transition, right, between the two, between sales and support. And then the RFP and renewal tracking, enhancing that even more. So lots of things going on in 2025. So that's kind of just a recap. Now let's move forward. Let's talk about kind of where we're at moving forward quickly here into 2026. We're already in February. Can't believe it. So product portfolio, just kind of a little background. Every year we look at what are we selling? What products are we selling? Obviously, we're selling products within the Salesforce ecosystem. We have an ISV contract with Salesforce and an OEM contract that depends on if you buy Salesforce direct, and then we add Benelinx versus if you want us to sell you Salesforce and Benelinx. Portfolio has always varied a little bit. We kind of went from like kind of bulk products to breaking it apart. Now you can buy a la carte, if I want the actions automation, do I want the commissions app? So over the years, we've kind of broken those components apart, giving our clients a little bit more flexibility on, a la carte deciding what they need. But we took that to another level this year. So in 2025, we had 14 different options to choose from when you think of all the different components that you can purchase in those two different contracts. We now almost have over 50. So we've broadened the spectrum of the opportunity for us to help support and provide the solutions for our clients. It's a huge leap. We're going to talk about those here in a little minute. In that portfolio, we're breaking out some really key enhanced features this year. We're highlighting one in particular. It's that the secure email with the RFP automation. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but that's kind of our gold star new feature for 2026 so far. We're revamping our whole customer service area, and we'll talk a lot about the options for us to provide some service options for you. So ongoing support outside of your first year, right? First year clients, the onboarding fees are covering that extension. We talk about that a lot during our transition of onboarding to support. In that first year, we're hyper supporting you through that full first year. So this is really going to be kind of for the clients that are in that second year plus. We're also adding custom work. We have clients, again, with flexibility of Salesforce is so beautiful and amazing, but it can also be, ongoing, right? I talk a lot about phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, sprint, 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 right? This is a marathon. This is not, the 100, right? So what we want to do is we've had clients come to us and say, hey guys, can you help us? We want you to help us build out some specific, work for us on a very particular project. So service base is going to be ongoing. Project base is obviously you've got it. I have identified a very particular need on what you want built out into the Salesforce ecosystem. Also in the product is the offerings, is us going to be able to sponsor and offer some of those external licenses. I'd mentioned Conga, Cloud Maven, even Salesforce. And Salesforce came back to us as partners and opened up, and they did this with all their OEM partners, opened up the product offerings. So there's more product offerings that we can provide you that are Salesforce offerings, and we'll highlight those here kind of at the end of the presentation. Oops, so a whole lot going on. So current features now available. We have the secure email and RFP automation. Okay, so we have objects like I talked about that were built in 2025. The RFP object, or so the market request object, and the actions, the request object, sorry. And now we're automating that, in conjunction with secure email. I mentioned this quite a bit, that standard Salesforce email that you can send emails out of the system are really intended for those quick hit sales conversations and or marketing, invite you to a presentation. They are not, and they never have been secure. That's a really big challenge we have in our industry, right? If I want to send emails anywhere, they need to be secure. Almost everything that we send and receive in our industry needs to be secure. So that's a huge offering that we can take the standard Salesforce and improve upon that and really allow that to be a much more secure, something that we can actually use outside of the marketing and sales. We'll also talk a little bit about that it's also send and receive. It's almost like another email system embedded in your Salesforce, and there's a lot of value being able to not only send out, but also return those secure, emails and communications inside of Salesforce. Conga Sign. Obviously, we talk about Conga Composer a lot. Conga Composer is the application that gets those templates out of the system. And the two main areas that we have embedded Conga Composer in our managed package would be the proposals generation, right? When we're generating those proposals, we need to get it out, all that information out of the system. We use Conga Composer with an Excel template. We also use Conga Composer, same exact application, to get those booklets, those template booklets out of the system, and we use PowerPoint templates for that. We can use them for also compliance. Some people are using it. It's a full license. We talk about that during onboarding. You can use it for anything you want, right? So there's lots and lots of use cases for Conga Composer, not just the two that we're predominantly using right now. In addition, though, we're getting a lot more requests for Conga Sign. So if we think about, I can pull information out of the system, what's the next logical step? Well, I want to send that now. I want to electronically send that document out and maybe receive it back with a signature. So they have, Conga as a company has a bunch of different features, and they have Conga Sign. So we want to make sure that our clients are aware that that's an add-on that can be added if you're thinking about that next level with that kind of document generating capabilities within the Salesforce system. Mentioned briefly the client community. Best time for you to kind of touch and feel that. We're going to add that into our onboarding team. And then eventually we're going to add it to our support team. So that is the login. That is the self-service portal. That is a build out. It's a whole build out, right? Just like most things, Salesforce, whether we like it or not, it's custom. So basic drag and drop, build kind of an interface, but getting to the point where you can decide client A can log in, they can see their account information. What can they see? What can they not? Of course, we don't want them to see everything. What do we want them to see on policies? Do we want them to see contracts? Do we want them to self-service plan designs? Think about the amount of customer service requests you guys get that is that repeat request. Can you give me my contract? Can you get me that plan design? Can you tell me what my deductibles? Can you tell me what the proposal that you presented last year was about? Can you help me with something? You can submit requests in there, right? So think about all the self-service. I always give the example on the client community. I'm a huge fan of this feature, by the way. I've been talking about it for years, and I think we're finally at a place with some of our clients that they're ready to kind of consider that in the second, third plus year of being in Salesforce. It's the equivalent of going onto your bank account and downloading a statement or seeing what your balance is, right? Who doesn't want to do that? Who wants to call their bank every time they want to know what their balance is, right? And that's the equivalent. That's the world we're moving. That's the world we live in. And that's the world that we want to move this industry into, right? People want to have that capability to go grab that information at night, on weekends, etc. So love that feature. And obviously it's available and it has been, but I really do think this is now where we're at as a business and with our clients being in Salesforce for long enough. It's a great opportunity for us to remind you that this is probably time for us to think about that and what kind of efficiency we're going to drive and bringing in new clients, right? This is a great marketing opportunity and a differentiator as an agency. And then the sales app, right? We have Benelinx manages agency management. We manage the commissions app. Salesforce gives us the ability to add that sales component into that. So that marriage is needed more and more where we have a sales team. They're managing those leads. They're converting them into opportunities. They're building out their sales process and then it's closed one, boom. We can build that. We bridge that gap of automation. Now, oh, we get notified. The whole company gets a hooray, right? That we've got a new client and it sends email notifications to certain key members of the team. That efficiency is tremendous, right? And that lack of needing duplicate effort and redundancy of data entry. Sales team is doing a lot. They're documenting a lot of information. Why redo that work, right? So again, knowing that that is a component that can be added. Available soon. Finally, phase two, Employee Navigator integration. We've come up with some challenges. They've come up with their own challenges. They've had a lot of things going on. We've had a lot of things going on. So phase two will be coming in 2026. What does that look like yet? We've got multiple opportunities to work with them in a variety of different ways. We are evaluating where we can get the best bang for our buck. Okay. So they've made a significant amount of changes. They've had to pivot kind of based on the ease kind of integration or migration needs. And so we're moving forward full steam ahead to figure that out and to get clarification on what that's going to look like. I will tell you that within the phase two Employee Navigator, we have to phase out ease at some point here, right? We've stopped doing any kind of ongoing development. And again, when Employee Navigator purchased ease several years ago now, that was kind of the reason why we paused on continually to sponsor and support that integration was we thought that that transition would happen within a 3 to 6 month period. And now we're in like 2 year or 3. So what we're going to need to do as well, we're building out that phase two Employee Navigator. We're going to come up with some deadlines on the ease integration. I know there's been, clients that have been moving from the ease to Navigator. Some have done it last year. Some have it on their plan to do it this year. And we're moving along too, that we will be phasing that out probably in 2026 at some point, but we will let you know. Member level assignment again. Apologize for the delay on this again. We are close. We are working on finishing this. I am personally involved in this process of member level assignment on our instant quoting, where you can break apart and you can define of the 10 employees on the census, the 3 people have gold, 4 people have silver, and the remainder have bronze. So we've got 2/3 of it done. May should be an easy deadline for us to meet to get that finalized and rolled out. And obviously, a lot of these we will then follow up with training. Okay. So as they become available, we will send out announcements, we'll do a presentation, and then follow up with some training. Really exciting. Everybody wants to talk about AI, so we got 2 items here, big ones. The first one is the AI document builder. So we're building something offline that is going to be able to use AI to take PDF, Excel, any document, and be able to create records within the system. Holding records is the intention. But when we think about being able to load a whole month of commission statements, let the system do its work, come back, and it creates our commission statement entries for us. That's the goal. So we're building one tool and we're going to apply it to commission statements. Those are a challenge right now. We know that. Very clear, identified. We have PDF, we have Excel, we have all kinds of, stuff, right? A variety of different ways. We want to be able to normalize that and bring that into the system. While we thought of that, we said, well, what else can we normalize, right? Plan designs. That is a big problem. That's heavy manual entry. We understand that. We have fewer and fewer people using our instant quote because fully insured is not as sold as often, right? Everybody's pivoting to self-funded, larger accounts, custom, etc. Plan designs, getting that in, being able to drop and drag and drop it in, have the system build a plan design for us is critical. We understand areas of our system that are heavy in manual entry, and this is one of the tools that we're coming out with at some point in 2026, cross your fingers, right? To help manage that heavy manual entry process. We need to fix that and we need to solve for that. And we have identified and we've heard you that that is. Third thing is the quoting, right? So our solution to the instant quote, that was the first quoting tool we came out with in Benelinx. And when we first rolled that out, it was a big hit, right? Fully insured was a bigger market, right? And that helped solve the problem of going out and getting those immediate quotes, right? From multiple carriers, right? We may or may not. We may want to cross state lines. We have a national coverage now. So we solve for that, embedding the quote in the system so we can mark what is sold. So all of that is still there and it's really efficient, but our market segment for fully insured has shrunk, right? So going out to the market and saying, okay, do we have another solution that can give us self-funded? Well, self-funded is very specific to the location. It's very specific to the region. It's very specific to the type of products. Then you can break apart the stop loss and the TPAs and on and on and on. So the initial idea of just replacing the concept of an instant quote with this other market didn't make sense after the evaluation. It wasn't even feasible. We'd have to have 6,000 different integrations. The alternative was to say, let everybody go out and quote whoever they want, and let's focus on the RFP process. Therein lies that new feature. The RFP process gives us the ability to send it to whoever you want, get back those quotes from whoever you want, and now this AI document builder we're working on, again, one tool for 3 different applications is being able to read those quotes and then build proposed plans out of those. It's a big deal. This is huge. And I think this solves a lot of our manual entry challenges. So we're very excited about this. This is a massive undertaking, but that's where we're headed. And I wanted everybody to be aware that that's where we're going as quickly as we humanly possibly can run. In addition, Salesforce has their agents. If you don't live under a rock and you've watched any large, advertisement, any large shows, I'm pretty sure Salesforce was on, the Super Bowl. They're pushing hard, right? Salesforce is pushing hard their agents, Agent Force. And we have some clients that are dabbling in that. You can go and you can build your own agent within your own system. And that is absolutely something that can be done, right? The little agent that you tell it what to do, right? And it does what you train it to do. That's kind of oversimplifying it, but that is what the agents are for, to start there. We're also building out embedded agents inside of our managed package. And the first step, because we're going to walk before we run with AI, we're not doing anything external for you to put in a communication with your clients. What we're starting with, at least, is how it can help you guys and your users. Wouldn't it be great to have you're building a booklet and it's like, hey, I see you're trying to build a booklet. Looks like you're missing the rates for this and the plan to that and da 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 da. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Our system is very complex. So to have this little agent right over here on your shoulder, they can help you with the quoting or help you with those booklets or help you with, compliance, maybe some things that I'm tracking that. So we're starting internal and we're going to provide agents internal to help your success with managing the efficiency of the system. So more to come there. Cool stuff, right? A lot of thought has been put into all of these components, and a lot of feedback we've received from you is the reason we're moving in that direction. And hopefully we've hit all of your pain points at some point with most of that on kind of where we're at, where we're headed here in the next 12, 24 months. So let's talk about the customer experience. So Ashlyn, who is the lead manager of our service team now, she's not a one-man show, sent me a LinkedIn about really clear, and this was LinkedIn from somebody else that was talking about customer success, customer experience, customer support. And it was talking about how those are very different things. And I couldn't agree more, right? So let's talk about and revamping the Benelinx customer experience. And the experience is your perception of what Benelinx is doing for you outside of onboarding, right? It's everything. It's the beginning, it's the end, and everything in between, right? So what is your experience like? Okay. And I would say I want to pause here for a second because I really want to say that we are not like any other software-based only company. 99.9% of software companies have technical support only. They don't give you a phone number. You can't find a person to talk to. And you submit a request and it's going to a bot, and you probably won't get the right answer. So once you buy, it's kind of like you're on your own. Good luck. Here's a knowledge base or a bunch of videos to watch and figure it out. That includes the Monday.coms. I mean, we're talking all the big boys, right? So like you buy it, they're out. You don't get a human. You don't know who, where, when, why, right? And so we're not like that. We don't want to be like that. And we'll never be like that. Okay. We understand a lot of things about the industry. We understand our client base. We understand the volume, the complexity of our system, the size of Salesforce, the adoption challenges. I could go on and on. So we don't want to be like that. We have no desire to be, there you go away. Have a good day. We want to be part of the ongoing experience. I'm a really big part of the onboarding team right now. We've put a tremendous amount of time and energy into trying as hard as we can to take your users from 0 to 100. And that's a huge leap from nothing to like fully functioning working system, right? And your users using it. There's training, So we want to continue that experience so that it's ongoing. And after evaluating kind of where we're at with the whole service team, we're breaking this apart a little bit in a little bit of more detail. So we want to be a part of the experience. We're enhancing the renewal experience. Sorry. So we're adding to the renewal experience. And so by contract default, your renewal is on auto renew. Everybody's contract is the same at this point. Okay. So you'll auto renew and it'll roll and you'll get an invoice. And that's traditionally what we've been doing. And we're changing that. So we're going to have an outreach. We're going to show you what your renewal numbers are. We're going to recommend and offer you options to add or remove licenses, products. We're going to talk about enhancements that you can add. And we're adding in the opportunity for you to add in a service agreement. So there's going to be a lot more involvement and outreach on that renewal process again. And we want to be more engaged and understand what your needs are, right? Why are you removing certain features? That's good for us to know. What features did you not add last year that maybe you're ready for it to add, right? Refreshing your memory on some of the other products and services and some of the things that we've added that you may or may not be aware of. We're also adding in service agreements. So this is where you can be a part of that. We can be a part of that experience ongoing, right? Which means we're going to take a more proactive and relationship-based approach to your ongoing service needs. Salesforce is large, the system is large, your needs change, right? Your processes change. Our system changes. We do updates quite often. Salesforce changes. They go through 3 updates a year. This is an evolving system, right? Again, it's that marathon. And so you're going to have options to consider. This is second year. This is at your renewal and beyond. We introduced Benelinx 360, our training platform, a year ago. We have a lot to do there, but it serves its baseline purpose right now of providing each one of our clients their own portal. You have your own personalized training recordings in there. You have access to all these other recordings, and we're just going to continue to grow that. So you're going to have an option to continue that. If you have new people, it's a great place to send them so they can get that foundation of here's some base training. Here's the trainings that happened right inside our org. So it's not like they're trying to, take a generic training session and apply it to their system. They're going to see exactly how your system was built. You're going to have the ability to do that. You're going to have the ability to buy 3 different levels right now of ongoing service for the year. Maintain, enhance, and optimize. Okay. So how much help do you need? How much kind of updating do you need to your system is going to depend on the different level that you choose. And we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like. And we've had clients ask us for custom work. You have a very particular project. I need help with A to Z, Rachel, right? Here's what we need. I need it done by this time, and we need custom work. Okay, you need that. We're going to be able to provide that. And we're going to go through from discovery to deployment, training, and documentation. We want to do this right. We're not going to be the cheapest, but we know your system. We have the industry expertise and we want to do it correctly, which means we need to go through all those steps. We don't want to skip steps because if we do, then things break, right? And it will be at an hourly rate. I also want to mention that service and statement of work, custom work, is optional. We have some clients that want to use us. We have some clients that are going out and finding consultants to do the same work. The orgs are yours. We're here to support you in any way. We're giving you an option to use us as a consulting statement of work service, or you can use a third party. You always have options. Okay. But we're giving you that option and we're formalizing it and we're organized on how we're going to be able to offer this to you moving forward. So the customer success, right? So this is where we're bringing our service to that next level of, right? Proactive. We want to build a relationship, understand, okay, this is where we're at. This is what you guys need. Here's how your business has evolved, changed, grown. We need to adjust our workflows because we brought in a plan analyst now. Okay. So obviously, if we do that, we need to adjust. You didn't have one before. Now you do. Workflow, renewal automation has to be adjusted, right? So we want to be a part of that. We've got, like I said, those 3 service package options. And how this is going to be the fees are going to be based, will be estimated annual hours. Okay. So what is the expected estimated annual hours that you think you will need to have the level of service over the next year? But they're annualized. So it doesn't matter when you use those hours. If you say, yep, this looks right, this sounds like this is the amount of time and extra help we need from Benelinx, then you could use them all in 3 months. Maybe you got a big push, right? You're like, we got to get all this done before we get in fourth quarter, but we're going to need a lot of help at this time of year. Great. Use all your annual hours at any time. You can spread it out, use it all at once. If you exceed the hours, you can bump up, right? So there's no limits. It's just a matter of getting to a place of kind of estimating what you need. If it goes beyond that, then we can extend and upgrade. We use Clockify to track the hours. So we will be tracking those hours. We're not estimating, we're not guessing. We're going to be tracking the hours that are going to be needed to provide the level of service that you're asking. Okay. But again, what we want to make sure, even with the statement of work, is we go through the process that is best practices, which is time to discover. What do you need? We need to have those meetings, understand what exactly are the requirements. We need time to build and design. We need time to test. Everything that we're doing now is being built in sandboxes, right? And we're going to push that forward. We have to do that, all 3 of these things in a sandbox and thoroughly test. Then we have to move things to production once they're approved and retest. Then we have to provide you with documentation, and then we have to train. Those are the standard best practice processes. And we are going to follow those, whereas an outside consultant might skip steps. We're going to follow those to make sure that what we're doing has the high quality that you deserve. Okay. And then, additional features that you may want to add, right? Why would you add some of the service components? Maybe we'll have to go through. You're going to get the client community if you buy one of these services. There'll be an opportunity to do that discovery annual review. What happened what's the good and the bad? What happened last year? What did your employees give you feedback on? What are the areas that didn't feel right, that was a little clunky, where we need to smooth that out, right? We're going to do that review. That's part of that service agreement. Updates to design and automation. Updates, meaning add a field, add a trigger, right? Custom flows are much, much more complex. Will eat up a lot more hours quickly. I'm just warning you. I've been a part of a couple lately. They're a lot more difficult than you'd think. You have to deal with all the variability and the if then, if I go backwards and upside down instead of just straight ahead. But that can be part of what your needs are. And then obviously things like custom reporting as well. So we're going to lean into this. We're going to offer you at renewal your customer success packages. You're going to decide, do I want one of the 3 options available? That doesn't include Benelinx 360, so there's really 4. Okay. Outside of enhancing the customer experience success. See, it's taking me a little bit to get used to the words. we're going to have baseline technical support. So if you choose not to purchase the service, one of the service agreements, then we're redefining what our customer support's going to look like. And it's going to be more of your traditional technical support. What is going to be included in that? Password resets, users adding and removing, troubleshooting bugs, right? That's our fault. If there's a bug, we need to fix it, right? Support user adoption, help support that. Ashlyn and her team do a tremendous job of here's a tango, right? How do I go through that process and remember how to go in and build that list view or build that report? Reinforcing the training experience, right? And directing to additional resources. And so that's what the redefinition of our technical support team is going to be able to provide. In addition, they're going to still do the updates. They're going to be able to go through. We've got a package update. We've got some improvements, some adjustments, some bug fixes, all that good stuff. They'll still request approval and then go through the process of making those updates for you. I will tell you that our future is moving more and more towards self-service. If you see the end of this presentation, the first thing we're doing in training next 2 weeks from now is system admin. You all have system admins in your org that have the capabilities of doing everything I do, which is a lot, right? So this system gives you a tremendous amount of self-service capabilities, and we need to teach you that. We haven't done a very good job. Your people can add and remove users. Your people can add and move fields around on a page. And I'm telling you, once you learn it, you're in heaven. Because now you don't have to ask, oh, can you move this field? Can you add this, right? And we're going to teach you that. We're going to start shifting you into a self-service model, right? And part of that is we'll help you more if you want it, but we also need to teach you all the things you can do on your own, right? And that's part of this initiative is that system admin training to help you with that self-service. That's why we're moving into that client community, right? You're going to be able to, keep track of everything that we're doing and have that direct contact with us in the future. Okay, project-based, like I just said, I mentioned this already. What would I use a project? Predefined, I need a specific flow build or a couple. I need some automations added. Maybe I need an external integration added, right? That might be something where I want to add a connection with the outside party that's not part of our package. And again, it's estimated hourly. We'll obviously keep you in touch with those hours where we're at based on a projected timeline, based on expected usage. But we do need to go through these stages: discovery, design, test, deploy, train, and report. It's a lot. But to do it right, we have to go through each one of those and make sure we do it correctly. Because if we do it, then it's more reliable and sustainable. We're running out of time. We're almost done. So partner products, okay? So the new partnership we want to talk about, which we've dabbled in the conversation a little bit about a year ago, was Cloud Maven. So they are a third-party company. They are independent completely. We have a partnership agreement with them to bring their product to our clients. And the main reason why we agreed to partner with them is for the secure email, right? Again, Salesforce standard email is really for marketing, invites, tracking sales conversations, right? Not secure. They have an application. They have the ability to provide secure email, the full secure email within Salesforce, which is send and receive. So we've added that. That is an additional partner we have available. They have other products. We're going to walk before we run. Right now, the really important focus is bringing that secure email in, especially with our RFP tracking process to automate that. Conga, like I said, we have Conga Composer, well known, and then we can add Conga Sign. So those are the two main products that we, again, as a certified partner with Conga, can resell and add that additional component as needed. Salesforce also. So Salesforce has a ton of products, as you know. If you're an ISV client, you've talked to those sales reps, there's a million clouds, there's a ton of different features you can add on and this and that, right? So if you are an ISV client right now, meaning you bought Salesforce direct, these products are available to you: data storage, field tracking, knowledge base, but we cannot sell those to you because you have a direct contract with Salesforce. So if any of these sound interesting to you, I recommend going and talking to your Salesforce account manager about purchasing those. We can sell these additional products for our OEM clients, right? Makes sense, right? You've already got a contract direct with Salesforce. You go buy the additional Salesforce products from Salesforce. If you're OEM, you bought Salesforce through us. And so they've opened this up and allowed us to sell some additional products to their OEM clients. So just be aware, difference, right? Doesn't mean you can't have it. You just got to go to your sales rep if you're an ISV client. If you're OEM, then you can talk to us about adding. The first one is the most important. Every single person should buy this, every single org, if you're in second year plus. Data storage, right? Salesforce has data backup storage across their entire company. Your own personal backup, you should be thinking about that. Okay, so talk to us more if you'd like more information. Field tracking is interesting. So if you know what field tracking is, and if you understand Salesforce, if someone goes into a record in your system and changes the SIC code, for example, and then saves, that data is replaced and gone permanently. Salesforce gives you the ability to set field tracking on certain fields. Okay, so that if you have field tracking set on SIC code and someone goes in and updates that field and changes the SIC code, field tracking would say, oh, Rachel changed this field. It used to say 7373. Now it says 7642. So it tells you what the old data was, what the new data is in that field, who changed it and when. Field tracking is actually a really important component to adding something like that to Salesforce. By default, Salesforce gives you, I think, 20 fields that you can track per object, count, contact, policy, etc. 20, it's not much, right? Most of our clients don't have any field tracking on set. And if you don't set it ahead of time, when data gets overridden, because it gets saved and updated, it's gone. So you have to set field tracking before you have a problem. And you have limits on how many fields you can track. You have to define them in Salesforce land, right? Additional field tracking, this allows you to add up to 60 fields that you can track per object. Now, again, you have to go in and set them. You don't just turn it on and then it does it. Why I'm bringing this up, because I think this is really important. This is going to be a really important piece if you're going to add AI. I really, really think anybody that's going to be adding AI, that's going to be moving around in your system, the little agent doing things, field tracking is going to be critical, that if something happens and things are getting updated on your behalf, right, that you have that history. So I think part of moving into this AI world is data quality, get your data set, get it correct as much as possible. If it's incorrect, then you've got Mr. Agent in there learning from the wrong stuff. Second thing is tracking. And I think this is why Salesforce added this and enhanced this feature. They're not dumb, right? They got to figure it out. You do field tracking. If something happens, you can go back. So really, really critical fields that you want to know who changed it when and what, and be able to revert is going to be something to consider when we think about moving into that AI space. Knowledge base, important. We've had people ask about it. To and froms. What's this? What's that? How do I do this, right? Knowledge base is a place where you can build your knowledge for your users to go in, reference. Surveys, this is, I think, kind of interesting. We're adding this into our own Salesforce. Who doesn't want to know about what their clients think of them? Maybe we don't. But we do. We need to, right? So how do we do? What's the feedback? Survey responses. That's an added feature. It's pretty simple. It's a pretty basic survey. But it's something to think about that you could add that into your system. Marketing, if you have the sales feature, you can add marketing into that as well. Marketing is campaigns, push out, notifications, invites, right? That's what marketing is. Seeing where people are, cursoring on your screen when they're looking at your website, connect, from your website to Salesforce. All those things that I don't know much about. I'm not a marketing person. But it's there. We've actually added into our own. And then again, the AI agents. So, and this is a tiny little subset of all the things Salesforce offers. But we're introducing this to you, and that's why that portfolio went from 14 to 50. Because we're asking our clients and we're hearing from you that you need more, you want more. Some of you have totally embraced the Salesforce concept, and I have to give you so much kudos for understanding that Salesforce is an entire universe. I call it an ecosystem, and we are a part of it. We introduced you, and we are the foundation, right, of your world in Salesforce, which we should be and should always be, hopefully. But there's so much around it. There's QuickBooks integration, and we have phone integration. We have all this stuff from Salesforce we can add around it, right? We have stuff outside we can add in, external integrations we can add in. We can add in apps through the App Exchange. It's like, right? But what we've heard, the people that have embraced this concept and understand that this is the beginning, not the end of the process of making your agency more efficient. And the real solution isn't Benelinx, it's Salesforce with Benelinx in it. That you get that you understand you're asking us for more and more and more. And you're the companies, the agencies that have said, you're not doing enough. I drank the Kool-Aid, Rachel. You told me to drink it. I drank it. I'm good. I love it. Let's go. Right? And so we hear you and we understand you need more from us. You need the consultative. You need the service. You also need those products. Everybody is running straightforward. Like I said, Salesforce is, look at all the stuff they have. Boom, 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 boom. They're adding fast, fast, fast AI. Conga, Cloud Maven, right? Your company, your agency, when you start thinking about how you can connect all these elements, whether it be literally inside of your Salesforce ecosystem or externally connecting to the outside world, Ben admin, quoting, other things, right? We can connect, QuickBooks, etc., right? So this is kind of in summary why we are where we are here today is to announce we heard you. We want you to continue to drink that Kool-Aid like we do. We do the same. We're running as fast as we can in the direction that we know you need. And we want to provide the breadth and depth of product and solutions and service that you deserve from us, as much as we possibly can, right? To give you that full solution across the variety of different needs. Okay. So with that comes training, all of that, right? So I just introduced a whole truckload of stuff. So what do we need? So we're starting the next every 2 week sessions, same time, same place. And we will start with that Salesforce admin training. Won't be the last one, but it's going to be a good introduction based on if I'm a system admin, what are the things I can do? I want to go in and build a field. Great. I want to go in and change things on the Lightning page. Great. I want to go in and add a user. Great. I want to go in and freeze a user that left the company, and I want to make sure that they are turned off immediately. Great. I want to know more about the Outlook integration, and I want to be able to see what it's doing. Great. Okay. We have to start somewhere, and that's where we're starting. We need to add additional trainings to what we have. We've heard you, it's not enough. We haven't done enough, and we need to get them updated. So we have some new training sessions, like our commissions. We have revamped that whole thing. We got to start over with training and teach you all how to use it now, because it's all the names have changed, new features, reconciliation, new reports. It's great, but if you don't know how to use it, doesn't help, right? We want to introduce this email automation. Step 1 was us building the RFP objects. Step 2 is the email, secure email. Step 3 is read and build and create quotes. If we can put all 3 of those things together, we have a tremendous solution for you guys where you will be able to send an RFP, a custom RFP template out, receive it, get notified when the carriers respond. The quote will be saved as an attachment. The quote then gets converted to a proposal. The plan design gets created for you, right? Think about that. Now I have something to present to the client. I just select which ones I want to present to the client. There you go. Market is sold. Sold policies converted. Okay. So we've got step 1 already. Step 2 is the secure email with Cloud Maven. Step 3 is our AI document builder, which is coming. That's our plan. Get quote, member level, assignment. Got to finish that. Got to get that for you guys. For you guys that are doing the ACA quoting, I apologize. That's my bad. We got to get that to you. So that is high priority. Got to break up those options so that it's per member, so you can just, you can spread out the total across the variety of health plans. So we'll be training on that once it's available. And then new products, right? We're going to bring in Cloud Maven. We're going to do a demo. We're starting doing demos, partnering with them to do demos. What does this look like? What other things can I do with Cloud Maven? Just like Conga, you're going to be buying. If you decide to buy, you're going to be buying a whole application. There's so much you'll be able to do with that secure email outside of our recommendation, right? So Conga and Salesforce, obviously. Conga, I just saw that they are an AI company. Goodness. So I'm really hopeful that their back end will start to become a little bit less technical. I was very grateful to, very glad to see that they had just purchased an AI company. So I'm sure we will see some significant changes here at some point in the next couple of years. And then obviously Salesforce. They're just moving and shaking, right? Lots and lots of products and obviously lots of AI options. So yeah. And we will just start breaking apart, right? Everything from a training perspective. Let's start with what we need to catch up on. Let's move into our features, right? Our core features on training. And then we graduate to here's some other products that can be added and use cases for adding those into your system. So moving right along. We've already got this planned. Looks like the 17th, 2 weeks from today, same place, same time. We'll send out a registration after this meeting. You can register. If you know people that are not on that invite that need to be added, just let us know. We will be doing system admin training. That'll be like baseline, like I said. How do I go into the back end? How do I start to find information so I can self-service for my team, my own org, and manage some things internally within the system? It's yours. So we want to turn those keys over a little bit more to you and give you some of the capabilities of doing some of that self-service. Additional sessions will come. We can send out kind of our itinerary if you want to look a little bit further in advance, but repeatedly every 2 weeks here as long as needed. I greatly appreciate you guys coming. For some of you, I saw you on the list. I haven't talked to you yet in 2026. I think we've got some people that we've got on the calendar to catch up with here in the next week or two. We really appreciate your business, and hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully this gives you a good idea of where the company is headed, Benelinx, and hopefully where we can help move you as an agency forward. You guys have a great day, and we will see you in a couple weeks. All right.